Hi, what if I told you you need to build the future tank with half the resources you think you need, half the time you think you need, and you start without a team? That was pretty much my situation about 4 years ago. And in this talk, I would like to share with you the key principles that helped me meet this challenge. Hi again. My name is Chai Resnick, and for the past 12 years, I've been working for Elbit Land System. I started in the system engineering department, where I held several positions from engineering to management. For most of the period, I led the reconnaissance systems and observation system development, and I had the privilege about 4 years ago to establish the Future Fighting Vehicle and Robotics Department, where we started with this project. Just before we start, I would like to say that although we had a lot of hard technical challenges when developing this system, this is not a technical talk. Um, so for those who are still here, let's start. The first value or the first principles I would like to suggest is asking why. Although there is a great talk from Simon Sinek about start with why, and if you haven't seen it already, I would suggest go and see it afterwards. I would like to give it a little twist. Whenever I start a new project or encounter a new problem, I start asking the key stakeholder, why do you do what you do? And why do you do it the way you do it? And whenever I get an answers like, this is how we do things here, or this is how we always done it, and in this case, this is how tank fight, then I know I reach a place which has a dire need of innovation. So in this case, we made no assumptions that we know anything about how tank fight, and we went and learned. And what we've learned is that tank crew comprised of four operators: commander, gunner, loader, and a driver. And the commander is the pivot of everything. Everything goes through the commander. He micromanagement everything, mostly because he's the only one who has all the data, all the information about what happens on the battlefield. And he uses his head out in order to build his situational awareness, although that he have a lot of electronic system to help him with it. On the other hand, our main requirement were adding more capabilities, more line of sights, more sensors, shorter time to engagement, engage multiple targets at the same time. But you can do it only with two operators and only within the cabin, only under armor. So we started thinking and we decided from the start that we'll put the users in the center of the development and design the system according to their needs, and not the other way around where you design the system and then you figure out where to put the users. So, and when you take a reduced crew size with increased capabilities, you get an increase in cognitive load. And it's almost impossible for the users to operate all the system capabilities at the same time and, and perform the tasks that need to be performed. So what we've done is we decided to go to the basic principles and to analyze the jobs to be done. And we looked at the system also as an operator, and we decided which jobs the user will do and which jobs the system will do. And we understood that we need to add uh, all the automation that we can, all process automation that we can, and even adding autonomy capabilities to the system. On the other hand, or in addition, we needed to create a simple and precise user interface, easy to understand, only the data that you need or the user needs when he needs it in order to perform the task and no more. And in this stage, we had more unknowns than knowns. And the type of process, development process that fits this kind of a problem is agile process, where you put a concept, you implement it, you go and test it and validate it, and you learn what works and what doesn't, what brings value to the user and what doesn't, and you adapt. So great, let's start and build a spiral model project and learn from it, bring value to the customer and to the user. The only problem was that the customer defined a standard project by a waterfall model, meaning that you analyze the entire system, you design the entire system and system capabilities, implement it, test it internally, and only then, probably at the end of the project or even afterwards, you go and meet the user, the final user, and understand if it works and if it gives value or not. And this way you can exhaust your entire budget and your entire time and bring no real value to the user. So how do we deal with this challenge? That leads me to the second principle I would like to suggest, which is the hybrid model. If you look at the standard projects, such as presented on the board, it comprises of, as I said, system requirements, which start with the milestone called the SRR, system requirement review, then leading to a system design review, system preliminary design review, critical design review, etc., and testing requirement review. And we decided to add an agile cycle for each milestone, for each period of the project, and went to the customer and agree with him, put him on board for that hybrid model. And we told him that for each milestone, for each project milestone, each design review, we also present what we learned through the cycle. And we will not design the complete system, but we will build it step by step. And this basically how it looks. So let's zoom in a little bit about the first cycle. So after analyzing the jobs to be done, we decided to create a 2 days workshop and brought users starting from tank commanders, for example, and adding even helicopter pilots because they work in teams of two, and obviously system engineers and industrial designer, and we've built the actual size of the cabin and envisioned and imagined how it will work, how the users will sit there, how they will operate, how will they communicate with each other and interact over along the time that needs to be they need to sit in this cabin. And we've built it whatever we thought with whatever we had at hand, such as cardboard, the models that we had, as you see, even chairs that we brought from the office. And after we got to a first concept, we designed it, put it on the design papers, and we analyzed it. You cannot escape doing a good practice engineering in such a project, and you need to design and to analyze the system and the system interface and what works and what doesn't. But you do it scaling up. So after we put a first concept and this started to and put a concept on how the sensor would look like on the platform, as you can see in the picture, we went and built a lab mockup of the entire cabin with the user interface that we thought that we want to have, and started testing the concept with the simulator, just simulated the field of view and where it aiming at, and you could change the field of view, the location of the cameras, pretty easy, and brought users such as veterans or new school gamers in order to evaluate what works and what doesn't. And we learn from that and adjust the concept and the system requirements and design according to what we learn. Later on, we created a mobile app with a small part of the system, but enough to understand the main processes and to understand and evaluate how it feels like to operate and drive, for example, with a head-mount display. This was the first time anyone did it, and or to drive with the display itself, and how it will work, what kind of data we need, how the automation work with the sites, for example, and again, learn and adjust. So for the entire project, it looks something like this, where for each step we change and evolved with the type of demonstrator that we've built. And after the initial lab, mobile lab, we built a full size simulator with a cabin dimension and to test mission, the entire mission, and to test the user interface in terms of symbols and data, what and how do you operate with the sticks or with a head, etc. What we've learned, we adjusted to the actual design of the system, and we tested on a mobile lab, a larger mobile lab with two operator station and hardware that looks more like the final hardware that we have on the final demonstrator. With this mobile lab, we can develop and test the automation and autonomy of the system, and finally it brought us to the final demonstrator, where came at the end, pretty much near the end of the project, and also the testers were recruited by the customer only at the end of the project period. And even then, when we taught them how to use the system, we interviewed them and asked them after each session, after each day, what worked and what didn't work for them. And we adjusted the design, even at the last stages, we adjusted the interface to what they need and not what we thought they need. And it worked. That brings me to the final principle. I would say last but not least, and even one of the most important things I can think of, is the team and the team culture. And when I started building the core team, I wanted to create a team that completed each other. And I looked for for system engineers with different capabilities and such as, for example, young system engineers with no experience in system engineering, but with great potential, learning potential, curiosity, and a drive to change the world. And I mixed it up with seasoned engineers with a lot of experience that can help me mentor and guide and design guide the team and mentor the team and the less seasoned engineer, and help me deal with the complexity of the system. The second value that you need in order to create a good team and team culture is no ego. I know it's easy to say, hard to do, and I was fortunate enough to be able to create such a team. And the way I did it is using two key things. First thing is that from the start, from the interview point, I say to every system engineer that I'm interviewing, or potential system engineer, that I expect from a system engineer to be the project facilitator, meaning you need to do whatever needs to be done in order to make this thing happen, to make this system work. I always bring an example myself that even if the trash need to be taken out, I would take the trash out if nobody is available. Even I don't care that I'm management or whatever. I will do whatever needs to be done in order for the project to occur, to be created. And the second thing is that I don't play with ego at all. I don't mind giving credit. On the contrary, I give credit to the team because it's about the team and not about me. And this is the team spirit that I try to create. And it helped me mix things between the team members, because when we started, I didn't know which responsibility, which work package will fit better for each engineer. So I started going with a certain direction. Then I saw that things doesn't always work as I thought, and I changed tasks between engineers, and I could only do that um, if they don't play with ego. Because if put your effort in something and someone takes it because you're not good enough or it doesn't fit you good enough, then you won't let go because you want the credit for that. And if you don't play with ego, it's about the team. You are able to do that, and I did it until I find the best match between tasks and engineers. And that leads me to the final value, which is honesty. Again, it goes together with no ego. The first thing my team members learn is that they come and tell me anything. I expect them to come and tell me anything they think, anything they want, even if it's a hard feedback. They tell me I'm wrong, I made mistakes. I'm open to hear them, and I want and I encourage them to come and say that, because then we can discuss it. I can understand that if I really made a mistake, I want to know that and I want to adjust. And if not, then they understand the logic behind my decisions. And you can only do that if you're real honest about what you do and you come from a good place of making everything happen. And after 3 years of hard work, this what came at the end. So, some takeaways. Remember, start with why. Go to the problem. Ask why. The second thing is create the right team and the right team culture. And the last thing is I suggest using the hybrid model in order to both manage budget and process in order to bring value in the project timeline. Thank you very much for listening, and please approach me if you have any questions. And remember, the best way to predict the future is to create it. Thank you very much.